Here's my take on the two cheap generators for under 200 bucks. The ironton you can get from Northern Tool. The tailgator you get from Harbor Freight. Now they both have problems. I'm going to tell you that right now. They have problems that I feel cannot be overlooked in the decision-making process when buying these two. The big one is the fact that the pull starts do not like to work in the winter. The tailgator here has literally broken on me 3 times. I've literally fixed the pull start on the tailgator 3 times to keep it operational. I've had to fix the pull start on the ironton here too. They both are the Chinese generators, so it could just be that. I feel the big problem with the pull starts on both of them, especially the ironton, is the type of lubrication that they put in the pull start itself. That's just me. I don't feel that it's good for cold weather. I have changed out the grease in the tailgator twice. Yeah, twice. They both have problems there. Now, I'm going to tell you this much. Between the two of them, in a way, I kind of like the tailgator more for cold weather use, because you fire it off and within 3 minutes you're ready to rock and roll at full 700 running watts. The ironton, not so much. The ironton has issues with cold weather, such as you're going to be waiting upwards of 12 minutes before you can put it under full load. Now, we're going to be testing these. There'll be a series of test videos for both of these because winter's almost coming to an end. Hopefully, pray for me, folks. Pray for me that I can actually see my lawn in a couple months. If you do that for me, I'll try and make a video every week. Okay. The one problem that I really don't have an issue with, but you may have an issue with, is the fact that the tailgator does have to run on 2-cycle gas. That means that you have to mix the fuel and the oil before you put it in the tank. The ironton is a 4-cycle engine. It does not require you to mix gas and oil, but it does require you to make sure that there is oil, because this does have a low oil shutdown, and that's another thing that I hate. I like for the fact that if you've got this on an extreme angle, it will actually kill the motor. And the only way you're going to get this thing to start back up after you've done that is you're going to have to let the oil settle back into its neutral position. That's the only way that you're going to get this thing to start. I will show you in a little bit what I've done to mine, because I always know that there's oil in it. I periodically check mine. Actually, this one needs an oil change. That's another thing I don't like about this, is the manual is very thin. It's really just a bunch of safety warnings. It doesn't really tell you maintenance schedule. It just, well, here's all the warnings. Make sure you fill it with oil and have fun. I don't like that. Tailgator, the manual is weird. It is. The manual is weird in the fact that it's kind of written more for a 4-cycle engine. So keep that in mind. You just got to be smart about these things. Don't be running this without oil. Don't be running just raw gas in this. Now, the one thing I do like about this is the fact that ready out of the box, you throw oil in it, you throw gas, you pull on the cord, and it's there. That I, bravo, the tailgator. If you're a tinker, it's not going to be a problem, but if you're looking at just going down to Harbor Freight, buying this, thinking, oh, I'll just mix some 2-cycle gas and take this and the can of gas and this with, on a camping trip next week, I wouldn't. Not unless you've played with the pull start. Take the pull start apart, clean up that grease that's in there. Make sure that you don't let that spring hurt you. Be careful with that part if you're going to do it. And another thing is that you got to change out the spark plug on these. The spark plugs that come with these are horrible, and yeah, I just don't even mess around anymore. I just put new plugs in them. Buddies of mine, if they got one, I tell them, well, change plug. And they change plug and take apart the pull start, and they're fine. They are really good units. But back to the ironton. The ironton, one thing that some people are going to love about this, you don't have to carry a battery charger with you. So you just carry the leads to plug in there. Mine went missing, but should come in the box, and you plug it right to your car battery. And I believe the manual of arms on this says 8 amps is what it's going to charge at. So about a fast charge. So you give it a couple hours on it, it'll charge a car battery enough to start it, if it's a good battery. Okay, now let's turn the units this way towards the pull starts, and we're gonna talk about pull starts and the fact that this is the same pull start that you find on the 79cc Predator motor. So parts are actually readily available and out there for the motor in this. You just do a little bit of searching, you can find them in the forums or whatever. This is such a prevalent problem where this pull start dies. I haven't called Harbor Freight, but I'd like to know if they could just get me this pull start. If anybody's ever called Harbor Freight and seen if they can just get you this, and you can, please put it in the comments. I think a lot of people would like to know if you can just get the pull start for these, because that is the common problem with these generators. The motors don't typically die. It's the pull start that breaks on them, and a lot of people just find them junk. But watch my video on the red one and you'll find out how I start these when the pull start breaks. And onto the back sides here. They are a bit heavy. Let me get my notes here. Because these actually are fairly heavy. The tailgator, Harbor Freight's got that listed at a shipping weight of 38.6 pounds. The ironton is listed at a shipping weight of 56 pounds. This is a heavy thing. And once you throw fuel in it, it's got some weight to it. So keep that in mind. That yeah, they're small, but they're not as light as you think they are. Onto the back, you can see that they did cram a lot of stuff in here. The one problem I have with this setup is the fact that in here, let me get a flashlight, in here you're gonna see this tube right in here. It's right in the way of the oil fill. You gotta have one of those necks that fit right onto the quart bottle, and the way I've done it is I've actually literally put this thing on its side. Make sure that you don't have fuel in it when you do it. I've literally put this thing on its side and filled oil that way. So, Northern Tool, if you're watching, move that bloody thing. Make a lot of people happier. So, that's a problem. And the spark plug is fairly easy to get at if you've got an extension. I really haven't had a problem with the spark plug, so I haven't really done much with it. I've taken it out to look at it. It's actually fairly clean. This motor's a very clean running motor, I'll say that. It burns fuel very cleanly. So I feel that just go by standard maintenance practices. Every season put a plug in it and change the oil, and you should have many years of long service out of this unit as long as you don't torture the thing to death. But that's your own prerogative. Tailgator spark plug is a little bit easier to get at, but you will be changing this out a lot more because of the fact that it is a 2-cycle engine. You will be changing it out more than you would on the ironton. But it really all depends on how much use are you going to get out of it. Is dependent on I'm going to change the spark plug. Okay, and they are both fairly quiet machines. Now let's turn them around so that you can see the front sides. Generator heads, exhaust. One thing I failed to mention in the little red generator is the fact that this heat shield actually rusted off. It rusted off. I even tried to braze in some silicon bronze into it. I know, super stupid idea. You know, freaking killing a fly with a cannon type deal. But and even that, it really it rusted around the silicon bronze where it fell off, sadly. This one, I haven't had any problems with the exhaust. So really it comes down to, in a big way, cost. This normally sells for $199. This sells for $120. So, you know, you're right at $200 with this. You're, you know, a little over $120 on this. It comes down to, if you need it right now, that's the prices you're going to pay. But Harbor Freight regularly puts this thing on sale for less than $100. Northern Tool will sometimes, not online, but in the stores, they'll put this on sale for less than $160. So keep that in mind if you are that sale conscious person, that, hey, wait for the sales. That's all I have to say. The one thing that I do like about the tailgator is the fact that it is smaller. That, and I don't have to change oil. So there's that. But there's also the downside of it is a 2-cycle engine. It does require you to mix fuel. And ironically, I've found myself when I'm on the road, if I need simple generator power, I usually take this because I can actually pull up to the gas pump with this, stick the nozzle in, fill it up, and go. I don't have to mix oil and gas. So if that is an issue for you, mixing oil and gas, then maybe the ironton is the way to go. Let me turn these babies around to the front side again, so you can see what I'm. So it comes down to, really, this in my opinion if you're gonna need something for the weekend, get this. If you're gonna be a fairly heavy user, get this. It just doesn't make a lot of sense some ways to have something that you need to mix oil and gas with, because that means if you're on a service truck and say, like with me, if I need to run 100% welding voltage out of my engine drive, that means I have no AC power. So if I'm working at night, I have to have something to power the lights. So if I've got this, I can use the same fuel as the engine drive and as what the truck runs. If I have this, I kind of am forced to run another gas can just for this. It's the catch-22. Yes, this is cheaper than this, and yes, in my opinion, this is better in the winter than this, but you're going to have to make your own decisions on which is better for you. And in the next upcoming video, we are going to be running these two, and we are going to figure out which one's the better cold weather king. And I'm putting my money on this one versus this one. And then sometime in the summer, you're probably going to see another, I hope to have another video out this summer on these two, comparing them for summertime use, so that you get both seasons, especially up in the Northland here, where you can see the extreme swings in temperature. They do perform differently at different temperatures, and I think that that's all I really wanted to tell you, folks. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe. I know I was a little rambly, as always, but see you in the next video.